Hi there, my name is Celeste Headley. I'm the author of Do Nothing, and before that, my book was We Need to Talk. We Need to Talk was about communication. And your question was, it's a completely different topic this time. How did I come up with a book on this subject? To me, it's not a completely different topic. Um, when I was writing We Need to Talk and finished, I still had some questions left. One of those questions was why we choose to do something so efficient, like overusing email all the time and texting, when we have the most sophisticated communication device seen on this planet right here in our throats and here on the sides of our heads. And by asking that question of why do we do this thing that's incredibly inefficient when we have a much more efficient option available to us, it sort of started me down this road of looking at all the different inefficiencies in our lives, one of which is overwork. So for me, do nothing is kind of an extension of we need to talk in many ways. The next question was understanding the term cult of efficiency is an important point in understanding the book, and it's a difficult term. What is it? Cult of efficiency was a phrase originally used by the philosopher and writer Bertrand Russell. And I think he used the word cult very intentionally. You know, a cult is a group that has sort of been brainwashed to follow a leader almost beyond reason, illogically. Oftentimes they'll do illogical things and things that may seem silly from the outside because they believe so strongly in this central figure. A cult of efficiency is a cult in which people do these illogical things because they so worship efficiency. And for me, that fits so perfectly because we do illogical things. We do things that are not efficient, um, because we are sort of brainwashed by this pursuit for efficiency. We work way too long hours. We do things that are terrible for our health and our bodies and our brains. And in a way, we kind of need to be deprogrammed in order to stop doing those things, much like somebody in a cult would be. And yes, absolutely. I mean, I think you could say that all of us, the work that I do, the things that I do when I'm doing nothing, you could see as productive. I really like to garden, for example. When I say do nothing, the title of the book "Do Nothing" doesn't mean literally do nothing. It means stop being productive all the time. Productive. Stop working all the time, and do stuff that doesn't have a value on social media, that you can't post about on Instagram. Do stuff that doesn't necessarily have a value that you can brag about or put on your resume. It doesn't mean it doesn't take effort. I don't want anyone to sit like a slug on the couch and watch TV all day. Um, I just want people to stop orienting their entire lives around productivity and efficiency and hard work. And that kind of gets us into the next question you had also. Do nothing seems far from our own lives because we have to work to make money. And it is absolutely true. One of the things I try to acknowledge over and over in the book is that not everyone has control over their schedule, by the way. We live in a state of very, very deep inequality in many countries around the world. And that means there are some people who cutting back on work hours means a loss in salary that they can't afford. um, for the rest of us, do nothing is really about breaking away from these habits that have come to rule our lives and are so unhealthy for us. We do things without really thinking about them. We do them because we're told that they're good. We're told that you're a better person if you work harder. We're told that you're a deserving person if you work long hours. And that's simply not true. That's part of our brainwashing. And I would just like people to step back and take a break. And for those who do have to work incredibly long hours just to pay the bills, I would say you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day. Everybody has that. And just for the sake of your own well being, find 5 minutes or 10 minutes each day when you can simply take a walk outside without your phone. Um, uh, go for a swim, sit in a garden somewhere, do something that's not connected to work just for a few minutes each day. Meditate. Whatever it is that brings you some solace and some relaxation that you're not doing to check it off of your bullet journal, I recommend that. Um, Next question was, do I think people can break away from the cult of efficiency and the busyness addiction? And I absolutely believe they can. Why do I believe that? Because I have done it. Because I've heard from a lot of people who've read the book and have successfully done it. Now, believe me, I'm still a work in progress. There are many times when I find it difficult to break away. And I find myself doom scrolling through Twitter or refreshing my Instagram feed over and over. And I have to literally say to myself, stop. We are surrounded by these messages, constant messages, telling us to stay connected to our electronics, telling us to check our email every 10 minutes or so, telling us to constantly check our social media feeds on our phones. And it is difficult to break away from them. And you won't always be successful at that. But even just a small improvement will actually reap big benefits for your life, for your well being, for your health. So even if you can't ultimately make a complete clean break, any break is going to help you. And the last question was, Koreans are suffering from excessive work. I know that, and they've recently introduced a 52-hour work week. There's a lot of controversy over that, um, and whether I have messages for the Korean readers. Yes, 52 hours a week is too long to work. Here is my message, and here is what I learned from all the years of research I put into this book. For most of human beings' time on this planet, for the vast majority of it, we lived a certain way. Um, we didn't work very much. We worked less than half of the year. And then somewhere around 200 to 300 years ago, 250, we changed everything. And it has changed for the worse. In many places like the United States, uh, life expectancy is going down despite all of our increases in healthcare. And this is before the coronavirus pandemic. In many places, burnout is an epidemic and is having major impacts on people's health and their well being, both mental and physical. This is not healthy for us. And it's counterproductive, quite literally, if we continue to lean into these habits that not only are not doing us any favors, but in the end, they're less productive. Every time we study this, and we have research on this kind of productivity going back to the 19th century, every time we study this, we find that long work hours are not more productive, partly because when you work long hours, you increase the number of errors that you make, partly because it burns you out and you become less creative, you become less innovative. So the odd thing is, you can actually become more productive by not focusing on productivity. Give yourself a break and return to the habits and the lifestyle that served us so well for hundreds of thousands of years. And the last thing I'd say is thank you for reading.